Thank you, Mr. President. This is another of those issues that's been around for quite a while. There were some fees imposed in the 1990s that have not been used for their dedicated purpose, and people would look at it and want, truth in fees legislation, complain of bait and switch. This has been worked on for quite a few years. The late chair of Ways and Means when I started, and then the rules chair, Jay Powell, had been the sponsor of this in the House for several years. It was a passion of his, and Representative Andy Welch took it over for him this year. We've worked out a compromise that gets a little bit closer to the Senate position on this, and what this will do is when fees want to be dedicated, and this will be moving forward, this doesn't go backwards, it will be moving forward, but not retroactive, but 2/3 of the legislatures can dedicate fees, and then in emergency times they can be repealed, and fees can be dedicated in whole or in part on this as well. There are triggers in there because back during the recession, which I missed, I got out of local politics at the end of 2006, came here in 2013, but I know there was a stretch to come up with money, and this says that if there's a 3% downturn in revenue for a fiscal year or 3 months in a row, that it can be repealed, and it can be done for up to 2 years that way, and for any 2-year period and a 10-year period. It also puts a sunset on all of these, and we've done sunsets on things in the House, and these have a 10-year sunset on these fees so that we do go back and look at them. We've tried to do a 5-year in the House, but we've had constitutional amendments such as outdoor stewardship, which passed by 83%, fireworks trauma, 81%, that people are going to approve these. And I think this is a more responsible method to look at these going forward. We do limit it to 1% of the total revenue. And of course, this polls very well. 87% agree in a poll that I put on your desk along with some facts that fees paid for a specific purpose should only be used for that. And overwhelmingly they support a constitutional amendment. So if this goes forward, it will be on the ballot. The House has already agreed to this 164-4. If it goes forward, it will be on the ballot for this November, and then going forward from there, we will be able to dedicate fees to this purpose. I will add too, when I came here in 2013, there was a young House member that came here at the same year, 2013, and he signed on to this because he believed it was important to him, and he now stands behind me as President of the Senate. So I would urge your favorable consideration of this, and we'll yield for any questions.
Chair recognizes the Chairman of Appropriations for a question.
Speaker yield.
Absolutely, to our great Chair of Appropriations.
Isn't it true that the Senate passed a bill that is very similar to this bill about a year ago, and had a number of precautions in that bill? And isn't it also true that the bill was not retroactive? This bill is not retroactive, in that it goes from this day forward. And just basically, isn't it true that it provides a pathway for a dedicated source of revenue for a particular purpose without going through the constitutional process? Aren't those points true?
That is true. After this point, it won't require going through the constitutional process. It will be 2/3 of the bodies that would do it, and we'll have certainly mechanisms in there when we're in recessionary times.
Isn't it further true that there are some precautions built in that were in our bill that we passed here in the Senate, that should revenues take a dip, the governor has a right to, has a responsibility to defer those repayments for fees and put that in the general treasury to meet whatever needs the state has?
Our Chair of Appropriations knows of which he speaks, and he was very instrumental in doing those into the bill that we worked on in the past, and those have certainly been incorporated into this compromise with the House.
Thank you. I appreciate it and look forward to supporting the bill.
Senator, you have no more questions.
Thank you, and I urge your consideration favorably of this bill.
Chair recognizes the Minority Leader to speak to the measure, the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I think this is an excellent piece of legislation. It's a constitutional amendment. It takes 38 votes to succeed today. I think it is important that the legislature establish itself as a powerful force in this government. And us passing dedicated fees as we have in the past, and time again, seeing the governor take those fees and in his budget recommendations direct them somewhere else, or powerful individuals try to redirect money, is not appropriate. So I think this is a great avenue, a well-written bill to help the will of the legislature be fulfilled and our constituents be served. I urge your support and adoption.
Senator has yielded the well. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the motion? The chair sees none. The senator from the 52nd has moved that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to H.R. 164. All those in favor of the motion will vote yea. Opposed, nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 53, the nays are 0, and the Senate has agreed to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to H.R. 164.